साहब अभी भी वक्त है, सोच लीजिए।
Hi, my name is Amit, and this is what I'm talking about. You might recognize this pattern from a lot of movies. A bad guy is wreaking havoc on a small town or a village, and it is up to the honest, true blue yet a bit vindictive good guy to save the people from the clutches of evil. He hires a bunch of rogue but double-dealing rebels who often have trouble with authority to finish the job for him. There is a bit of a conflict within the team, but is quickly resolved to serve the main purpose of the mission, incidentally turning them from malevolent crooks to saviors protecting the innocents. They stand united on the side of justice and put up a good fight against the baddies, probably even resulting in deaths of one of the protectors, which becomes the catalyst in finding flesh on the villain. Sounds familiar?
शोले मैंने भी बहुत बार देखी है, समझा?
That's right, Sholay. Except also this movie, which is a remake of this old classic, which also was an American remake of this Japanese masterpiece, and also one rather poorly received Adam Sandler spoof. Although Sholay is a bit different from the movies it takes its inspiration. In particular, this scene. The ending of Sholay, which now seems the quintessential 70s Bollywood movie ending, with the bad guys almost always rescued from getting killed by the police, deep down seems unsatisfying. Why is that though? This is Quentin Tarantino talking about a similar problem with the conclusion of a popular 1977 show about slavery called Roots.
But the thing that really gets me about Roots, and a lot of people I've talked to, is you watch this whole thing that's on for 16 hours or something, and you're actually living the lives of these people and putting yourself in that place. And if you remember the last episode of it, has Lloyd Bridges is one of the most hateful of all the racist guys in the movie. It has Chicken George, played by Ben Vereen, who's one of the guys that you've been following the most. And then at the end of the movie, they have Lloyd Bridges and they tie him to a tree. And Chicken George is going to whip him. He's going to give him a peeling to end all peelings. And you've been waiting 16 hours for this. And naturally, he does the thing that they normally do in these movies, like, no, 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 I can't do that. That would make me as bad as you. And when he said that, all over America, 100 million people said, no! Whip his...
It's what they call the process of releasing and thereby providing relief from strong or repressed emotions. It's what Aristotle terms as purgation when he defines tragedy in his book, The Poetics. He says tragedy then is an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude, with language embellished with each kind of artistic ornament, the several kinds being found in separate parts of the play, in the form of action, not of narrative, through pity and fear effecting the proper purgation of these emotions. Where, by imitation, he means the attempt to capture the essence of reality in artificial form. By pity, he means the feeling of pain one experiences when watching another suffer, and by fear, he means the sense of panic or loss of self in terror.
जो डर गया समझो मर गया.
Although purgation, meaning catharsis, is defined by three terms, all of them indicating a sense of something angelic and divine, as if telling us it being the most vital and crucial part of a narrative. Which makes sense. We know we deep down want to see the villain paying for the sins he has committed. We want to see him getting beaten up for all the atrocities and evil he has brought on the village of Ramgarh. More specifically, however, we want to see Thakur exacting his revenge for the horrendous pain Gabbar has inflicted on him, his family, and the people he loves and cares for. That's essentially the function of a climax. It's the payoff that the whole movie was building up to.
बड़ी दुख भरी कहानी है। इस स्टोरी में इमोशन है, ड्रामा है, ट्रेजेडी है।
However, no catharsis. Unfortunately, Sholay is a tragedy without catharsis. Well, and this I'm afraid is worse because it's no secret now that we almost did get such an ending that was powerful and gruesome and violent. A bloody finale where Thakur seeks his revenge finally in a spectacularly violent way, which was the problem. See, when we talk about the censor board, it being a controversially cold and strict institution, or at least it was 5 years ago, you have to consider it was even more unsympathetic back when Sholay was released in 1975, the period of national emergency.
I think क्योंकि ये फिल्म शायद इमरजेंसी के समय में रिलीज़ हुई थी और इमरजेंसी के दौरान शायद ये एक ये निर्णय लिया गया था सेंसर से कि कोई भी एक्शन सीक्वेंस आपका 90 फुट से ज़्यादा नहीं है। तो उसी के तहत इस फिल्म को या जितने भी एक्शन सीक्वेंसेस थे उनको हमको निर्माण करना पड़ता था या उसकी कटिंग करनी पड़ती थी। दूसरी बात ये कि आप कानून को अपने हाथ में नहीं ले सकते हैं। व्यक्तिगत रूप से कोई भी न्याय जो है अपने हाथों से नहीं कर सकता है, या जैसे कि शोले में था अपने पैरों से नहीं कर सकता है। और हालांकि दोनों वर्जन शूट हुए थे, लेकिन फिर शायद सेंसर ने कहा नहीं, यहाँ पर आपको इसको पुलिस के हवाले करना होगा। हालांकि जो हरिभाई थे वो तो जो संजीव कुमार जो थे इस फिल्म में वो एक्स पुलिस अफसर थे, लेकिन वो हमें रमेश जी ने वो दृश्य दोबारा शूट किया जहाँ पर पुलिस आई और गब्बर को पुलिस में दे दिया।
They suggested removal of all instances of explicitly violent scenes, including the scene where Gabbar chops off Thakur's hands, the one where he attacks Thakur's family, and also when he brutally murders A.K. Hamal's son. Since the director Ramesh Sippy correctly argued that the violence in all these scenes was only suggested, these scenes stayed.
Any other filmmaker there was a scope to make it very, very violent, right? Very, very gruesome. There was a scope, जैसे कि हाथ काटने का सीन है, and he starts why I did not pick up the gun, and then he starts narrating the story, and there he says कि ठाकुर ये हाथ मुझे दे दे, ठाकुर ये हाथ मुझे दे दे, ठाकुर ये हाथ नहीं, and he removes his chadar, you know, you cut away, and there are so many things like that. ये किया, dead body आ रही है लड़के की, समझा? So there are so many places where लड़के को torture करते, ये करते बच्चे को.
They have not shown any blood.
Right. Blood भी नहीं दिखाया.
It's a massacre of the family.
Family, that's right.
Massacre
of the family. High speed के अंदर एक गिरा, दूसरा गिरा, भाग रहा है. Correct. For the first we firmly believe that this gruesome scenes and double meaning dialogues or any filthy dialogues always goes against the film.
However, the real target was the ending, which violated their rules the most: explicit violence and abandoning the institution of law and order. The filmmakers were against such alterations, but in order to get a release, they complied. The film opened to a lukewarm response, possibly as the director recalls, due to Bachchan's character dying again in a major movie in the same year, possibly due to the ending, or just because it was negatively publicized by the trained pundits as a failure, even before its release on account of being over-budgeted and a tedious and long 3-year production.
And trade
Ticket क्या था? 10 रुपए ticket था.
Particularly a trade magazine had taken out a supplement on Wednesday, on the first Wednesday of Sholay, and it was titled, the supplement was titled, "Why Sholay Has Flopped."
Right.
And they analyzed in a most rational, logical manner that such a picture could have never be a success.
Okay.
There were many people who, in an extremely sympathetic manner,
Right.
explained to us why this picture, it was beyond possibility for the film to run because everything was wrong.
Right.
The emotions are negative, the film is gruesome, the villain has a weak voice, and the casting is wrong, the basic thrust of the story is misplaced, and so on and so forth.
However, the film eventually connected with the audience, who made it the biggest film of the year, possibly even of the decade. It reached a cult classic status, spawning countless parodies, spoofs and remakes, and referenced movies over and over.
दरअसल क्या हो गया कि बचपन में हम लोगों ने शोले पिक्चर कुछ 25-50 बार देख ली और इमोशन में आकर हम लोगों ने अपना नाम जय और वीरू रख लिया. जय पाजी, वीरू पाजी, है जी, है.
Talking about Sholay though, The evergreen songs, larger-than-life settings, an ambitious and grandiose scale of the picture, with rip-tickling humor, and immensely quotable dialogues.
बसंती इन कुत्तों के सामने मत नाचना। लोहा गर्म है, मार दो हथौड़ा।
Overwhelms, and even at times sidelines a mere plot point. It's the characters, even the bad ones, their chemistry and the affection we've grown towards them over all these decades is what makes it one of the greatest movies of Bollywood, which more than anything tells us that anything done with passion will always find its place it deserves, even if it included a compromise. It's been almost 46 years and it still remains the absolute face of a genre, the Bollywood masala movie genre.
एक बार जो मैंने कमिटमेंट कर दी, उसके बाद तो मैं अपने आप की भी नहीं सुनता.
And for my money, it's one of the best films to recommend someone to watch. Although it's a bit difficult. I mean, who hasn't seen Sholay?
Best film.
Sholay.
नहीं देखी.
तुमने शोले नहीं देखी.